Welcome to lesson 3, where we're going to move from a quick quote into creating an actual consignment. So this is the quick quote we created in our previous training session, and now we are going to move this forward into a consignment where we'll actually go to the freight carrier and tell them that we're ready for them to collect it. So let's go create a consignment. So once you go create a consignment, it moves you into somewhat more detailed screen where we can enter in our collect from address and our delivery to address. You'll notice that both the collect from and delivery to have picked up the postcodes that we put in our quick quote. So in our collect from, let's go in here and let's put in an address. I've got an address of Acme Widgets already pre-saved. Let's select that. I'm going to go OK. Now you will always get a warning as to whether this is a residential address, where you're going to have to confirm address is residential or not a residential address. We know at this stage that this is not a residential address, so I'm going to click on that. And now I'm going to go to my delivery to. My delivery to, I can again put in the address, and for this example I've got a pre-saved one of Movie World. Who doesn't want to go to Movie World? Again, we can select residential or not up here in the top right hand corner, and again keep in mind that by selecting residential your fees are going to be higher, but if the address ends up being a residential and you have not selected that, the carrier will still come and charge us extra, and then the cost will have to be passed on. So down here on the left hand side you have ATL. When you select ATL, this is authority to leave. This tells the freight company that you can leave this in a safe space, whether it be at a gate, in front of the door, wherever it may be. So I'm going to just leave that on for now. Go OK. Again, I get the prompt about the residential address. I'm going to say that this is not a residential address. Okay, so we move over into this right hand side where we're looking at some other key pieces of information around customer reference, other references and special instructions. This is where you can key in maybe a purchase order number. So let's say A123, and we can move on from there. Quote for service, I recommend you always leave this as quote for service. You could come along and select the particular carrier you want to use, but by leaving it as quote for service, once you go and push this consignment through to manifest stage, you will see those quotes again and are able to select the provider you wish. So leave that as quote for service. In the goods value, you can leave that blank at this stage. It may be useful in a future iteration around insurances and warranties. The collect date, we're maintaining that as the date that we have created the consignment, but you can always create a consignment for pickup for the next day. Other reference information as you see fit, you can put in here. For special instructions, you can tell the carrier to leave at front gate, for example. Okay, so we've also carried over our information that we did in our quick quote. Now I can add by clicking on the add button above the trash can, and I can add in more. So let's put in a bike box. So you can see it's pre-filled with the information. It's pulled the reference number from the customer reference, and now I can put in my weight. So I'm going to say that this is 10 kilos. So let's put in one more. So here I'm going to put in a crystal box, and I'm going to see that I've only partly typed it in, and it gives me the suggestion of crystal box. So I select that, and it's filled everything in. So here I'm actually going to tell the system that I have 2 boxes. Now in order to put the weight, I need to tell the system the weight of one box. Now each of these boxes have to be exactly the same size and weigh the same. So here I know that each box is, let's say, 2 kilograms. And I tab through. You will see that down here on the left hand side I've got total 5 items, 31 kilograms, which is the addition of all of the weights here with our fourth line multiplied by 2. Okay, so in order to move forward now to actually create a consignment, I need to acknowledge that there are no dangerous goods. If you do have dangerous goods, please contact customer support. I'm also going to select the email documents. This is good practice. as this will mean that all of the relevant documentation is emailed to you, so you can print it out and put labels onto the products, and maybe have your manifest for the carrier as well. Now you have two options to either go create or create and manifest. The difference between these two are as follows. If you click on create, you are telling the freight provider that you have a shipment, but you're not telling them that it's ready. When you go create and manifest, you're telling them, I have a shipment and I'm now ready for you to come and collect it. We recommend everybody does go create and manifest. If you're using the same provider, you will only have one van or truck turn up. You won't have multiple unless you're using a different product. So for example, TNT Road Express versus TNT Overnight Express. Potentially you may have a different van coming and picking up depending on your service. So let's go create and manifest. So once you've gone create and manifest, you get your quotes again because we've left it as quote for service. And now you can pick the particular service that you want, seeing the total cost on the right hand side and the ETA. I'm going to go and select TNT Road Express. I could select Border Express and you'll see the way each line goes dark or grey. Stick with TNT Road Express just for this example. I go OK. Now in the background the system is pushing that information to TNT, and it's coming up and telling us that this consignment, obviously a test, has been created and manifested successfully. It's giving us our end cost, so we can keep track of that and take a record. And now I go OK. So now I have my email documents, and I'm going to change that and send it to, for example, Parcel King support. So if you have any issues, you can also email us on cs@parcelking.com.au. With subject, I'm going to call it tests. And tests, you can put in what you need here. The email will have an attachment for the manifest, con note and label. In the next few weeks, we will also have another item for a receipt that you can pass on to your customer as well if required, or for your records. So I now click send. So now after clicking send, that is emailing that information to the email address and all the relevant documentation. This now means you have completed your first consignment. The information has gone to the carrier, and depending on cutoff times, it will be collected today. So look out for a future video where we're going to go into consignments and look at create new. And this is creating a consignment without going into quick quote.